Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Con. I am here with Jennifer Picard. Jennifer, please say hi to everyone.
Hi everyone, very nice to see you.
So, really happy to be here talking with you today. Had the pleasure of getting to know each other a little bit. Why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, maybe something personal, but more so on the professional side, too?
Okay, so from the professional side, maybe to start with, so I'm leading part of Transformation within Opella, which is the former part of Sanofi dedicated to consumer healthcare.
Mm.
Just a very recent carve out. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So a brand new world of private equity that we're trying to accompany to make sure that we are very much consumer centric, because what we want to really do is to really help to have people to have health in their hands.
Mm.
So that's really the motto of Opera and why I joined them.
Okay.
Before that, I was working more in the wines and spirits industry, so something very different, but not that much in terms of consumer centricity. There's a lot of common elements, but otherwise quite different in terms of mindset. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah, there's some common threads that roll through regardless. And one thing I have to mention is that when we talked briefly beforehand, we just organically found out that your favorite Scotch spirit is my favorite Scotch spirit, Ardbeg 10. I mean, a shout out to
Exactly.
Ardbeg 10.
Yeah.
That was amazing how that just had to spontaneously come up.
Very
Um,
well balanced, not too pitchy, but just enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it. So, as we think about the professional side of the career, we'll have to steer maybe away from spirits, but maybe back to it. It's still part of your professional career overall. And thinking about digital transformation and just transformation and insights generally, what have you seen happen along the way in the past that you feel like, will still maintain its importance moving forward? Are areas that you'll still focus on with your team? And what's changing in insights in terms of transformation? And what do we have to embrace going into the future?
So movement, change is life, right? So if you try to look at transformation within Insight, it's just a natural path that we need to take together. And for me, it started a long time ago, because initially, well, first I was a journalist in the movies, so here at Cannes sometimes. So that's the first part of my life. But then I switched to Insight, and very quickly, I first started in qualitative research, right? So not very tech oriented, much more human oriented, right?
Sure.
Especially it was in the 2000s, so nothing super fancy at the time in terms of technologies, or those communities were starting. But then I switched to social listening. And at that moment, technologies were booming, but the core element was how can we integrate those new technologies that were so different to traditional insights.
Okay.
We discussed that today, by the way. Someone
Yes.
from Heineken, I think, brought it back, saying that it was difficult for insights people to trust this type of data
Right.
and to know what to do with it. But it was to embrace that type of technology. So that's what I tried to do at that moment, and to make sure that we could use it in a wise way, but to embrace that transformation. So that's where I started to work within those two elements that I love: insights and transformation. And so I think if you understand that there's always two hands in transformation, the part that is really the technological one, so you need to really convince the minds, but then you need to implement and make sure that people adopt it within organization. And it's much more the heart that we were saying
Yes.
here
Yes.
today. And it's really a combo of the two. So it's making sure we have the best partners, the best technologies at one moment, because we know they're going to become obsolete at some point, right?
Right.
And to really make sure that we find the right people to lead the transformation, embed and democratize insight with those new technologies.
Well said. Well said. When you're thinking about balancing people and technology, and frankly, finding the right people to make that happen, are there certain characteristics you look for, either certain past experiences, or maybe isn't on the other end of the spectrum, where you look for people that are, relatively speaking, newer to insights, so they're more likely to embrace. Sometimes they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? So sometimes when transformation comes, it might feel like, oh, I should walk away from it. It's different. I don't know if I like it. But arguably, if you're newer, you don't even have that perspective. I don't know. Is there like a characteristic or two that you think helps people, helps organizations, I should say, with regard to people and uptake?
I think it's a great question, and that often people don't ask this question early enough. Okay, so first, I don't think it's just an insights person topic. So internally, I mean, so there is also making sure that we break the silos with all the people that will be connected to us. Will it be procurement? Will it be legal? Of course, digital, all business intelligence. To make sure that all those people speak to each other. This is the only way we can manage to build a predictive system of insights. That was really the topic that we were tackling today. So that's the first thing. Then when we look really at the insights people, in the past and today, I always try to have people that are blue enough to be interested in analytics, right?
Yes.
That's super important to be really rigorous, to really look at the why behind also the what, and really make sure that there is this really this mission to make sure that the data will speak. Okay, so that's super important, but also to have ready enough people that can make decisions.
Yep.
Push the project forward, even if it's 80% good enough. Okay, which is the key of transformation. Otherwise, you never
It won't happen.
move to a point A to B. That's difficult for insights people because
Sure.
usually we are like we really want perfection.
Must be perfect,
That's the
yes.
basics of our job. So either you find it in the same person, which is quite tricky, or you find it with different types of people able to work together. So I try to find a balance. To be perfectly honest, in my current position, I'm working with people I've worked before, whom I know
Okay.
that they are able to do so. And what I want to say is that it's not only the internal teams, but also the partnerships we are able to build with the providers with whom we work. And for me, the success is extremely linked to that too. I think the people, it's not just about the tools. The tools is the really the basics job to be done, and we need that, and we need to be aware on how it evolves, as we mentioned. But it's also with whom we work, also at partners level, with the behaviory, but also other partners of
Sure.
trust.
Sure. When you speak about the tools, and I love everything you just said, and you think about the connection of people with the tools, do you make it a point when you have your team to try to collect feedback in some sort of systematic way with a particular cadence perhaps, so that if the tools are working, and if there's not, there's opportunity to pivot a bit, improve? Or does it come the other way? It's top down and it's like, these are the tools, let's figure out how to make them work as they are? Or is it somewhere in between perhaps?
It's honestly another very good question. So I rarely use the tools as they are on shelf.
Okay.
Mostly, I adapt them to the needs of an organization. Sometimes I just use some features of the tools, and then for another use case, I will use another tool
Okay.
that is really fit for purpose. So right now, for instance, I've built an agile testing toolbox with an ecosystem of providers. And each need is supported by one provider, which is not always super visible for the end user.
Sure.
Because what I want the end user to concentrate on is the use case. Okay, less than the tool.
Okay.
The tool is my business. The making sure they are able to leverage the right tool for the right business question is their business. So that's how we try to differentiate the role of capabilities versus the people who are really supporting the brands every day. My job is to make sure that all those people have the best ecosystem, standardized and automated, so that they are able to really move faster in a cheaper way, also as much as possible with their insights, and to be able to really make the best decisions and help their peers make the best decisions.
I love all those answers. Thank you so much for the insight. As we start to close out here, I guess maybe just a bit of a fun one. We're in Cannes. What's been your favorite part so far? Or maybe it's multiple times here for you. Maybe you have something in your mind that you'd like to do before you head back out of here.
I have a lot of memories here because as I mentioned, I was
birthdays. I heard.
Yeah. Journalist here, so. Right here, we had a bad memory because I got robbed right here once on my 25th birthday. So that's
that's why we keep looking over at our stuff real quick. Let's.
But no, I'm super grateful to be here. It's always a good time to connect, and for me, I mean, having the opportunity to share and to actively listen to other people's experience is really a gift, because we are working in a time where really everything accelerates, and pausing once in a while to listen to other people and how they frame it, also what they experience, is always a very good sound check to know where you are at. And try to be better.
That's
Also
great.
on your own.
So it's the people, really.
Oh, really?
I love that. I love that. I
A
love
bit
that.
of the sea over there,
Oh, of
also, and
course.
the nice, very smooth summer that comes in.
Yes, yes. Well, for the record, nobody's been robbed on my podcast. We're
Good.
going to keep that going. But thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. It was great.
And have a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.